ocean. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Treb. How are you?
I am doing very well, and how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. I feel really excited to be speaking with you.
Yes, I'm very excited to speak to you as well. I know that in this day you have many questions, many ideas that you wish to express, so whenever you are ready to begin, you may.
Okay. Well, Treb, I had a question for you because about 6 weeks ago, I was in California having some energy work done, some qigong work done, and at the end of my session, my practitioner had said, "Take some time and relax," because we've opened a lot of energy up. And I laid there for a while and was kind of just breathing and relaxing and not thinking of anything in particular. But I had an energy come to me saying that they were from a area called Ka, and that they were my future self and wanted to come back and reconnect to me. And I wondered if you could give me, the place was Ka or Kataza, Ka, Za, Zanaka or something like that. I've lost the memory because it was a little vague. Anyway, I just wanted to ask if you could connect to that experience and maybe give me some more information.
Yes, if you will allow for me to connect more deeply to your energy, with your permission, I will connect you, and perhaps we will be able to find an answer that is more pertinent and is more deep within your energy, if this is acceptable to you.
Yes, please.
Yes! If you are able to close your physical eyes, to push the energy that is in the center of the physical body, pushing it to the outside of the physical body, and pushing it from this period outward in as far as you are able to push outward. And as you are pushing outward, place an intent for me to connect your energy, and in one moment I will connect to this.
Okay.
One moment, please. Yes! Let us express that in your connection, as you are laying down, as you are feeling connected, there is an entity that is connecting with you, that is very deeply connected to your own self through the Oversoul as a portion. Perhaps you would see this as a probable future entity or a probable entity that is within the same energetic zone that you are within at this moment. And if you continue the path that you are within, this would be a very high probability of being a future version of yourself. In this specific version of yourself, this entity's name is Na-Ta-Ra. And in this Na-Ta-Ra, this entity is one that is of a future human version, one that would appear to be to most human perception, a very perfect-looking human being. Although we believe that humanity is perfect as they are now, many human entities perceive the Pleiadian entities as a more perfect version, and this is something that is very similar to this energy. These entities reside within a star system that is approximately 200 light years from the area that you reside in this specific moment. If you are looking in the Capricornians constellation, it is between the third and sixth brightest star, approximately halfway in between. It is not a star that is visible to the naked eye, but one that you would easily be able to look into within a telescope. And these entities are very deeply connected to you. It is not only connecting through dream state, it is also connecting in more lucid style of semi-sleep states, but also it is connecting to you via the emotional status that you have when you are feeling perhaps negative or looking at things slightly in a more pessimistic view. There is a sudden burst of energy and an understanding and knowing that everything will be well. And this is this entity that is connecting to you.
Is this a positive entity, would you say?
The idea of positive and negative will strictly be to your own perceptionary capability, but if you are looking at the way that we have labeled entities, there are of type 1 entities who most humans would consider to be positive and good and happy, and the other versions are type 2, which can range from mostly positive and mostly happy to the ones that you would see as malevolent, and this entity is within the type 1 version. So it is in the same range of vibrational status that we from Capella are, and in this specific region of consciousness, these entities are one that you would perceive as late into the fourth density.
Okay, I understand.
Yes! It is very exciting!
It is. Is this the entity that I had connection to a little more consciously during that session? Can you tell?
This appears to be similar to the energy that is connecting to you in that specific 6-week area. When you are
Yeah.
having a precipice of energy that comes to you, there are many entities that are connecting to you on a regular basis. Now that you have become more open to this concept, now that you are integrating portions of your own self that you find more enjoyable, these entities are more coming to you. And as these entities are beginning to open the bridge of communication from your own self to their self, this entity seems to be the one with the highest probability of over a 97.6% probability.
That's a very high probability. Okay.
Yes, it is very high as well.
Yes, it is. Okay, well, thank you so much. Is there a message that they wanted me to receive other than all is well? Because that's the sense of energy that I got.
Yes, this entity is available for you to speak with if you choose to.
Uh, okay.
One moment, please. Greetings.
Greetings.
We are happy to be able to speak to you in this format.
Yes, me too. This is very exciting and unexpected.
Yes, it is very exciting for us too to connect to you. What we wish to convey is that the entity that you know to be Treb is not specifically aware of the pronunciation of our names, the pronunciation of our race. He is reading to you what energetic signal he is picking up from us. We wish to incorporate the true name of myself as well as the true name of our race.
Yes.
The true name of myself is Ra Tane, and in the race we are Terra.
Got it. I heard you.
You did hear very well. Your third eye and crown chakra are open enough to receive information. The energy work that you are doing is one step of many that opens yourself very greatly to signals and communication that is outside of you coming inward. And this is a very great step to take in your first step towards opening yourself completely. We congratulate you in your journeys.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being there. I really appreciate the support. I know I'm having it all the time. I don't always have specific information, but I can feel you. I appreciate that.
We are happy to connect to you. I also wish to explain one more message before we hand back the connection to the entity that you call Treb. What we wish to express to you is that we understand your journey. We are you. Our race has been where yours is in the moment, ours was in our history. We understand the growth process. We understand the pains that come along with these growing processes. In fact, in your own terminology, in our past terminology, there's a word that represents this as growing pains. We want to assure you that not all growth is painful. In fact, most growth can be very painless. We wish to explain to you also that in your growing we have found a great resonance with your heart's attunement to our own heart's vibrational resonance. And in this vibrational resonance, the more that you open your heart, not just to those around you, but to yourself also, we are able to communicate more rapidly and more diligently, not just myself and you, but all of us to all of you. We congratulate you in your growth process, and we will leave you in love and peace.
Thank you so much.
Yes! The connection to the entity is one that is very useful to you and can be very exciting if you allow your excitement to take place of the energetic connection.
It's very exciting. And that was really surprising. I didn't expect that.
Yes, it is very exciting and surprising as well.
Well, thank you so much. That's really interesting. I'm going to have to pursue keeping my heart open in very clear ways so that I can continue that because I got to hear the voice in my head. So I know that's very interesting. Thank you.
You are very welcome. It is the concept that your thanking us, we understand, is part of a formality, but we are also understanding that your expression of gratitude for the connection is a part of this thanks, but we also wish to thank you as well, as your own ability and your own expansion has caused the domino effect that has caused your original intent to create a specific communication in which you were able to reflect to us so that we were able to reflect from you and also be able to reflect from these entities. This is the first connection that we have had with these entities, and it all is because of your own growth and expansion, so we wish to thank you as well.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't realize that.
Yes, it is very exciting.
That's interesting. So are there I know you said they're in the Capricorn area. Since I was little, I would look up at what I consider to be the Pleiades cluster. And since I was very little before I knew what it was, I thought those are my stars. Those are my stars. You know, I felt comfortable and safe when I would see them. Am I from an area around there, or am I know we're part of genetically from many places, but is there an area that I'm more connected to?
Yes, the idea that you have genetic components of your own DNA that connects yourself to the Pleiadian region is one specific synchronicity and one reason for resonance in this area. But also there are many aspects of your oversoul that connect to that specific energy. Let us give you, for example, there are the human Pleiadians that you perceive that are based in a star that is vibrationally connected to the star that you would call Alcyon. There are also many entities that are within your oversoul that appear to be the large monkey versions, perhaps like your Bigfoot entities.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, they are connected to the Tigris star. And there is also an entity that perhaps you are aware of that has been connecting through the host most recently, whose name is Aridif. Although these entities do not reside in the Pleiades at this moment, they are originally from this area. There are two entities that reside upon this planet that are also within your oversoul.
Ah, okay.
Yes, there are Pleiadian energies that are all over this place.
Yes. That's what it sounded like. Yes, when I heard Aridif, I also had a resonance, so I'm not surprised. That makes sense from the ancient.
Yes, it is very exciting to not only see that reflection within yourself, but also to know that there can be a resonance without any real reason. It can just be because your own heart is linked to another heart that finds the same flow of energy and information that is structured from questions that do not have to be answered or do not need to be answered, but you find the answers through synchronicities.
Yes, I understand.
Yes, it is very exciting.
It is very exciting. All of this is very exciting. Treb, could you look into my energies in my body now and see if there are energy blocks that I can focus on clearing so that I may have more connectivity and more of an open heart?
Yes, the one area that we see energy that was not flowing in a way that it has the capability to is within the throat chakra area. And let us express to you, there is an idea that most of the time there is a very ease within yourself to be able to speak to others in various fashions, but there are some difficulties coming from the heart area to the mouth. Sometimes there is difficulty maintaining a level of comfort of going from your heart to your mouth area, but this is not the only reason for this blockage. There is a concept that when you are learning, when you are bringing in information, that sometimes when information does not resonate with you, that there is a judgment that can be placed upon this. Although this can be considered a heart issue or a heart chakra issue, it is also a throat chakra issue. The throat chakra deals with wisdom, the intake of wisdom, the judgment of wisdom, the incorporation of wisdom that you already have. And when you are looking at things that do not resonate and you tend to judge them or be dismissive of them, this can also cause the throat area. What we wish to express more so than any other concept is that when you are speaking of this throat chakra blockage, we hope that you do not take away from this conversation that there is something that is wrong with you or there is something that needs to be fixed. In this area, when you are looking at something as a chakra blockage or a chakra flow that is restricted, we do not wish for humanity to look into these things as negative attributes of themselves or they are lacking in something. All of these things are very common amongst all humans. There is one specific chakra or many chakras in most humans that do not function at full capacity, but this is because of the energy in humanity's co-creation. And if you take the knowledge of learning of this throat chakra and then judging yourself for not allowing the energy to flow in the most correct way, then this will harm you more than helping you knowing about this concept. If this makes sense to you.
Yes, that makes sense to me, and I do understand. But I also have felt my throat chakra and my ability to speak, sometimes speak my truth, and maybe that is because of judgment. I feel it shut down, and I just kind of shut off in a way.
Yes, and this is very common. Many humans do not believe that they should speak specific truths because of the uncomfortability level of those around them, or the fear that they themselves could be judged from their truth. There are many incarnations in which you have had when you decided to speak up, when you decided to speak your truth, you were persecuted very heavily for this. And let us assure you that not only are you drawing on those lives in this moment, but you are also only connected to them because of your fear of speaking that in that specific moment. So what we can tell you about your past life energies that linked you of what you are in this moment compared to what once you were as a separate fractalized consciousness or a different fractal of the same oversoul, is that when you begin to feel this way and you are not sure why, many times this can be your relationship to your previous incarnation or a probable future incarnation. But what you can do in that moment is express to yourself that your existence is yours in that moment, that all other previous and future incarnations are truly happening in this moment, and that you only wish to experience your experience in this moment and not draw energy from forwards or behind you. And if you are able to incorporate this idea in that moment, it will help relieve enough of your resistance to be able to overcome your lack of being able to express this truth in that one moment, and it will also help you place more energy between yourself and that energy. And the more that you realign yourself with being able to speak those truths, even if they are to a smaller degree than what you would hope to in that moment, continue building this practice and reminding yourself not to judge yourself for not being able to speak the truth when you cannot, and this will help you separate yourself from many of these previous incarnations. Reminding yourself that previous incarnations are only linked to you because of your energy in that one moment, drawing backwards into fractals, then you will assure yourself and rest in that assurity that not all things from the past affect you in this now. It is actually quite opposite of this. It is what you are in this now will bring to you things from this past.
I understand. I actually heard you speak this recently, and it was kind of profound for me to hear that because I can feel the bleed through. I can feel sometimes things are more heightened and that they're not just me right now. I feel a little, almost like a tidal wave of energy that comes from other places that I'm connected to. So separating, I think, would be beneficial if I'm having a struggle.
Yes! It is not that you are truly separating, because when you believe that you are separating, this separates yourself from that energy. When we express that you are separating yourself from this, what we mean is that you are not truly segregating yourself from it, but what you are doing is allowing yourself to encompass yourself and your energy in that one moment. And what you are doing is just separating the degrees of how much this entity is affecting you. And in this way, to understand that this entity is a portion of you and that is why the energy flows, but also accept that you are an individual and that you must have your own experience without being affected from this outside source. This in itself can be a very great way to see this. And if you are able to see this in this way and not place separation where it does not to be, and not allow the energies of what is you contain a specific energy within yourself and be able to see the differences and also the similarities, this can be of a great benefit as well.
Are there ways, Treb, to soothe can I send love, and can I do anything to soothe the other probable past and future lifetimes in those moments to ease myself?
Yes, this is very easily done. Sending love in the way that you have expressed is a very great idea. But what we can say of this that many humans believe that they are doing that is very helpful is sending love and feeling sorry for these entities.
Okay.
If you do this, this can be a detriment as you are judging the entity and what they are going through. Just because the entity is being burnt at the stake, just because this entity is being imprisoned and mutilated and tortured, does not mean that this entity is not growing. It does not mean that this entity is not doing exactly what it intended to do when it came into this incarnation. So when you begin to feel sorry for this entity, you are taking away its own ability to be sovereign and decide what is greatest for it. But what
Okay.
is your decision as a sovereign entity is to not allow that energy to affect you in that moment.
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Yes! It is very wonderful.
Yes, that's very wonderful. And so I feel like if I can do that, if I can fill myself with myself in those moments and send love to myself and everything else that is touching those moments and try to be really present, I'll be able to clear up where I am with speaking my truth.
Yes, this is very exciting and can also be very growth inhibiting or growth enhancing.
Okay. Okay. I have a question for you about past lives. I guess past and future lives. I'm curious about the ones that are most prominent and touching me at this time. Is it predominantly the ones that are affecting my throat chakra, or do you see lifetimes that you could tell me some information about?
Yes, there are many of these. There are 5 incarnations that we can see in great detail. Um, 4 of these are what you would perceive to be linear past. One of them is probable future. If all of these you wish us to express, we may, but there are, out of the 4 that are obvious, only 2 of these that are affecting your throat chakra or connecting to your own energy in the moment that you're going through this throat chakra energy, but 2 of them are not related. They are more so related to your strengths and enjoyments in this incarnation. There are also 2, the energy from the very first probable future incarnation that we can look into as well.
Well, I feel excited about hearing about the positive attributes, like the strengths. So if you could tell me the lifetimes that are feeding my strengths, I think I'm going to send love to the ones that are drawing from my throat, and I'd love to hear some exciting positive attributes.
Yes, and we are very excited to share them with you as well. L-
Thank you.
Yes, you are very welcome. Let us first go into the concept of the very first incarnation if you are looking at yourself in this now time and moving backwards through time in a linear fashion. The very closest one that is affecting you is fairly close in your linear time. This is a representative of 1820 area in which this incarnation is going through in this now moment. And in this experience, you are approximately in your mid 30 age. And as you have found many great freedoms within your existence, you have also found a few struggles of areas of suppression. Many entities wish for you to have a religious concept and a religious background, and you fought against many of your own family members, your friends, and your community about removing yourself from what you would perhaps perceive as religious suppression. And in your perception, this religion was very negative and bad and suppressive and did not allow you the freedoms to move through the areas of life that you were excited by and that motivated you for happiness. So as you begin to explore how to remove yourself from these areas of restriction, you found yourself a way to move into the country that you perceived as the United States of America. So in
Oh,
this time you are moving and you are traveling, you are going through on this specific boat, and as you are approximately 2/3 across the ocean, your ship begins to sink. And as your ship begins to sink, there are many lifeboats that are dispatched. You were among some of the more fortunate in your own perception at that moment to be able to receive a specific spot on this boat. And as you begin to drift out, several days later, another ship had come and picked you up. And instead of going back to the United States, they were going back towards Europe. And as they are going back to Europe, you are complaining, although you are happy to have your existence in your life. You are not wishing to go back from the area that you once left. So, in an area in which they are docking to another boat to transfer, you sneak into the other boat, and finally you are able to go back to this area and have your celebration. In this moment, you are landing on the eastern coast, the area that you would now deem New York City. And as you are getting into this town, it is very large and very crazy and very exciting, something that is more than what you had experienced, even though you are well traveled through the area that you would call Europe. And as you begin to integrate yourself with these new customs in the first few days, you find yourself moving further west and further west and finding people who are transporting in wagons and horses and begin moving far enough to the west where it finally rests is an area that you would call now South Dakota. And in this southern area of South Dakota you settled, you began to find that all of the neighbors that you had around you were carrying much of the same religion that you wished to move from. But what you found in the main difference of these people and yourself is that they were not judging you for not participating in their religion. And this was such a refreshing energy to you that these entities that were very deep into this Christian religion that you had tried to remove yourself from were so loving and so embracing of you that you had become friends with all of them very instantly. And in that area, you grew for the rest of your existence and died there very happily with a family and a very physical abundance or financial abundance is the greater idea that we are wishing to express. And in that moment, in that exact incarnation, you died very happily. And this is one of these incarnations. Now, if we are moving backwards in linear time, in the fashion that we move backwards through linear fashion, we go into an area that we are now deeming 1500 area. And in this specific region, you are in a country that you would now call China, and as you are living out into the woods, for lack of better terms, you are living out in the woods, and you are connecting to yourself, very peaceful, interacting with very few people who are traveling between other villages that are near to your many entities would perceive you as a hermit. They would laugh at you and make fun of you, but they would often be somewhat kind. They would give you things for free, and you lived off this existence for quite some time. And as you become in your later 20 years, you begin to find a want, a burning desire within yourself to move into past these villages into the larger cities that were further out. So you begin a journey in this later part of your existence, and you begin to travel and meet all people from all different regions of this country in which you were, some who were very well accomplished and very well connected, other regions were more divided with non-connectable or non-compatible regions that were arguing with one another. But one theme that you had found is that in everyone who you had traveled to, everyone who you had connected to, there was always one common concept, that you were always able to find something to be happy about. And in that incarnation, regardless of the level of excitement that you had or the level of the things that were going on in that existence, you were always able to find a way to fit yourself into a situation to the highest probable excitements. And these are the two previous incarnations in a linear time that you are connecting to in this day that are enhancing your existence.
Thank you, Treb. That's awesome. It's really awesome. I have memories of being in a hermit lifestyle. So it's very interesting. And I'm in New York City now, so I've seen the people and the pictures of folks coming in from the 1820s, and I feel connected. I feel very similar. It's interesting. Very cool.
Yes, you are very excited in those areas, and if you are looking through these pictures, you may always remind yourself that perhaps I will see myself in a different lifetime.
Yeah, I guess you could. That's really interesting. That's really fun.
Yes, it is an entity that appears to be male. It looks very similar to you, but it is a very masculine version of the similar face structure and body type that you are having in this existence.
That's interesting.
Yes, with a very large mustache.
That's awesome. I think they all had very large mustaches. I'm going to have to write that down. Okay.
Yes.
That's really fun. Would you tell me about the probable future?
Yes, if you are looking approximately 750 years in your uh, probable, incarnatable future in your linear terms, if you will. Perhaps this is the greatest way to describe this, although it may be described in many ways. You are existing in a place that is no longer the place that you are now in your home period that you would call Earth into a different star system. Earth has traveled, gaining new reaches into space with new technology, new communications with entities that are outside of your planet at this time have now come to your planet and learned to integrate their own technology and speak with humans and teach humans to a higher level and a higher degree. And as your world begin to connect in the earth that you see now, the more coalescing that happened, the more the other entities were coming in to speak, first at very few at a time and then more so. And as you begin to leave the planet, you leave with another race that co-creates an experience with you. And in this specific experience, you are connecting to a race that is now known as a hybrid gray race, but appears to be, for the most part and all intents and purposes, to be human in looking and to be human by nature. Because they are sharing so much of your DNA, they appear to be exactly as you are. So now both of these races are traveling to an area that is approximately 35 light years from your planet at this moment. And there is a planet that is very close to a star that you would perceive that is very similar to my own star, a very small red dwarf. And as you are very close to the star appears to be very large in the sky, but is not as warm as the Earth planet. But all of the technology is able to sustain you. It is able, the land itself is able to grow food. The atmosphere is perfect for your own conditions. The housing is easily able to be made, as there is plenty of metals and plenty of glass to be made in this area. So you begin making specific fortresses, you begin to make specific buildings. You are now integrating with a new collective consciousness. By the time that you yourself had moved to this specific planet, it had already been inhabited for over 300 years. There was already a nice sized population of over 45 million human and hybrid entities alike. And as you begin to live there, your integratedness of the second density entities that were living there is now a very symbiotic nature relationship. And in this area, there is much learning that happens to all of the people who are coming in brand new to the experience from the ones who have been there for generations. And as you come in, the very first experience that you experience is a group of people that are teaching and a group of people that are learning. And learning has always excited you in this incarnation. It has always made you happy. And as you begin to integrate with these teachings and learnings, you begin to understand more so that your own existence in that one place at that one time is something that you desire to share with others. So you begin to volunteer for missions that would leave the planet, that would go out to other planets that have fourth density entities who inhabit them, who are just starting their own journey as Earth is starting in this moment. You begin to find these newbies, I believe is the terminology that you would use. And as you are connecting to these newbies, you begin to connect and express to them the excitements of growing in fourth density. You begin to teach them how to integrate their consciousness with telepathic communications. You begin to integrate them with opening up their intuitiveness and their psychic abilities. And as you begin to explore more and more, you begin to find your own heart opening to a greater degree, which then enhances your own capability. So it is a trade-off. By living your excitement, by bringing forward your excitement, you are not only helping all that is, you are also expanding in all that is. And this experience in itself has made you very excited, but also reaching out and learning and teaching from all of these entities at once, meeting several thousand different races in your existence and lifetime was also very exciting, and you are able to bring attributes of that to your existence in this moment.
That's awesome. Thank you, Treb.
Yes, you are very welcome.
That is very cool. If you can look at, I don't know if you can read this energy, but if you could see my life goals and plans before this particular lifetime. Can you see if I'm on a track that I had hoped to be on, that I'm expressing and learning the things that I was planning to do?
What we can express is we do not often tell an entity if they are on the correct path or if they are doing what they intended to do, but what we may do, if you wish, is connect your soul and see what information it wishes to share, if this is your greatest desire of these questions.
Yes, thank you. That would be great. I'd love to know.
Yes! One moment, please. What we are experiencing is an entity who is within the highest portions of sixth density that is within your own oversoul. And this entity is very connected to the oversoul as it is almost ready to reincorporate itself completely into the oversoul once again. And what it wishes to express to you is that by being in this physical existence, you are doing what you had come to do, but by living in excitements of expansion of your energy, of expansion of your heart and mind's consciousness, that this is also more so directed towards one directive that you had before coming. Another directive that you had before coming into this incarnation was to be able to integrate the things that you love and teach them to others on any level that is comfortable for you in your free will at that moment. What it says, although you have been able to express things, although you've been able to share things, although you have been able to teach others to one degree or another, that within your own self there is a judgment that your wish and desire could be that teaching more is what you desire, that teaching the amount that you have previously is not truly within your excitement. If you perceive that you have missed your mark in this area, if you perceive you have not lived up to your expectations, it will not allow co-creational energy to perpetuate people who are able to have a higher learning in a more degrees to come to you to learn this. So what can be expressed from this sixth density entity is do not judge yourself or any fashion, share what your heart tells you to, and try to remove the resistance that your fear of your heart to mouth that we have expressed previously with the throat chakra. Try to remove any fear that makes you hesitate in expressing your truth. And just by doing this, the amount of entities that you are able to teach will increase several fold. And
I
this is what
understand.
it wishes to express to you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for getting that information. I have been recently thinking about teaching. I've always taught children and done a little bit, which does that really excite me, but I do a lot of work as a performer as well. And I've been kind of grappling with this transition that I feel like I'm at now. So it's to teach what I love will bring more people and maybe more satisfaction without judging myself.
Yes, and by doing this, you will also be placing yourself in your greatest excitement. And this is what we always suggest to all entities in humanity, as this is the greatest way to achieve your energetic happiness and to remove as much resistance from within as you can.
Yes, that's interesting. Okay. That makes me excited actually just to hear. So then that begins to remove the resistance in itself.
Yes, living in any excitement can do this. This is why it has always been suggested from us from the beginning of your co-creative conversations from humanity to our own race through this host, that in the connection to your highest excitement, it allows your own probabilities to broaden a horizon in which more excitement can be revealed. It is the way of least resistance because you are allowing the energy that is of the oversoul, love that is of the creator, love to go through you unconditionally, to go through you unfettered, to go through you unrestricted. And when you allow the source energy to move through you and have no resistance, then all things are easy to manifest to a much higher degree.
I understand. I really do understand.
Yes, it's very exciting.
It is very exciting. Trev, I do I work as a stunt woman. I do work on television and film in the entertainment industry here in Earth. And I have some excitement, but not my highest excitement for my work. But I'm good at it and I like it. When I'm in it, I'm happy. But I'm looking at doing more creative, uh, putting my energy into more creative aspects of kind of circus acrobatics and creating shows. Can you look at my energy and see if that's something that is a direction that will give me my highest excitement? Or I don't know if you're allowed to tell, but if maybe it's more exciting for me to start a program and teach, or maybe I could do them both.
Yes, what we were going to express before you had come to your last answer
Yes.
was a very great answer. To look at both of these in high excitement does not mean that you are only restricted to one of these. That
Okay.
if you are able to incorporate yourself into working on your excitement of this acrobatics idea and your manifestation of your creativity, this is one concept. If you are able to take the time that you are not excited of this idea, or when you get bored and do not wish to do that at that moment, then you may always go back to your teaching concepts. Or you can do this with the vice versa energy and work upon the teaching in the majority of the time. Or if your desire is there to do both of them equally, you may also do this as well. Anything that is in your highest excitement in that moment is the greatest thing to do, but we often understand that many humans do not believe that this is achievable or they are capable of doing this because of the concepts of the day-to-day jobs and the non-allowance of making your own hours, making your own schedules.
Yeah.
But let us assure you that if your excitement is high enough, and if you place all of your energy in that excitement in that moment, regardless if you are getting a paycheck or not, whatever financial things that you need to handle, the universe will always give them to you. This is something that is of a guaranteed unless there is fear of this. So if you are able to relax your fear and just enjoy yourself, do not look too far into the future of worries or do not look too far in the past, saying that I am only here because of this and this and this from the past, then you will be able to have both of these.
Okay, I understand that. And Treb, if you look at, I don't know if you can do this, so I may be asking outside the boundaries, but if you could look at my current belief system and core beliefs, if you could see core beliefs that don't resonate with my highest soul truth, can you give me some insight to what those issues are that I come into conflict with my higher self? Because I find that I have resistance and I have what feels like subconscious beliefs that don't serve me.
Yes, we are not able to see these beliefs for word for what they are or the definitions behind them. What we are able to see is the energetic makeup that is within your physical body and be able to calculate this into concepts that are matching with other entities that we have experienced that are of a human nature, that
Okay.
are of the United States portion in the specific area and regions. We are able to break this down fairly accurately, but in the
Okay.
way that you are perceiving these ideas, let us express to you that if you wish to look into these subconscious fears, express your belief that you have, that you believe is or is not limiting, and we may reflect whatever subconscious energy is under this just by your words speaking this truth of yours.
Okay. Well, what I find is I have um, people will say I'm a common thing what someone would say is you don't have a sense of self value, or you don't think you're valuable yourself, and get frustrated because I feel like I am very valuable. But what's reflected in my life is maybe I don't feel like I am. Other people see me as valuable. That my internal belief that is valuable isn't reflected in my experiences with the people around me. And I wonder if that's something that's a core belief that I could shift.
Yes! While you are speaking these ideas, the energies within you are shifting. We understand what you are expressing verbally, and we wish to give you our own feedback on this specific idea. When you
Okay.
experience this idea that you know your worth, when you experience the idea that whatever your value is, you are well aware of this, there is also the underlying fears that are within you that either one cannot see this greatness or that one cannot appreciate it upon the level that you do. And in this, it causes these subconscious fears to flare up that are based around the true nature of your own importance. So let us express it to you in this way. I believe that I am important. I do not know if others believe if I am good and important and do what I am supposed to do. And in this not knowing if others believe, it gives me another doubt about my own worth. So it is a lack of feeling worth in yourself, but it is on such a secondary level that it does not appear in your common projected thought processes. This is what we would call a tertiary, or we are not sure. Kalina has expressed what the true word of this is, but one can never remind. But it is the third tier layer of what we are expressing, a tertiary line that lays under your secondary line of beliefs.
I
And in
understand.
this concept, the subconscious sphere is bringing up even more subconscious spheres.
Now, is this something that I can address directly, or do I have to just focus on the fact that I believe I am valuable? And can I focus it in a higher level, or do I need to address the lower tiers?
What we can express, there is a step that is given to the Earth Collective from Aridif that expresses how to find all of these concepts within your own self. It is a 10-step process, and if you wish to go through these 10 steps, he is able to go through this. It is quite of an elongated portion of talking, and we are not sure if you desire this idea, but if you do, he is able to express this. That has worked very well for many humans. If not, we may speak of a more short-handed concept.
Let me say, I feel like it's really important that I figure out how to clear up some of these undercurrents that are negative for me. So, do you think if we did a short version, I would be able to grab the concept and make the shift?
Yeah! We do feel that you are very capable of understanding these concepts in a more
Okay. Okay.
short-handed manner.
Okay.
Let us express that very firstly. Aridif has shared with the ideas that in your specific concept, expanding of a concept that I have shared, there is an idea that I have shared with entities that expresses one of the keys to this is awareness. So what we have suggested is to find a trinket or perhaps a symbolistic piece of jewelry or painting one fingernail an opposite color, wearing a string around your finger. This will allow you to always have in your mind that you must continue to be aware of your thought processes. And this is the very first step of this idea. And when you see this specific trinket or finger nail or ring or whatever it is that you desire to use as a symbolistic tool, remind yourself that whenever you begin to feel a negative emotion or when you feel emotion that is excitement, to try to remind yourself of keywords, whether it is through recording them or memorizing them, and through expressing these specific keywords, it will help you build an internal voice vocabulary with yourself and your inner dialogue. And as you begin to memorize these words throughout the day, let us use, for example, that in one moment of the day you have expressed, I do not feel very greatly about my own capability to do this specific job. And in that feeling, it is very negative, very heavy. And what you are thinking beforehand that leads up to this is very many things. There is an idea that you have expressed in one moment, I am appreciating this beautiful tree, and then you see a squirrel within the tree and you remind yourself that the squirrel is beautiful, and then you remind yourself as a child you once fed the squirrel upon your aunt's property, and during that time with your aunt, your uncle died, and during the death there was drinking that happened upon a party, and on this drinking along, this led to more concepts. So you begin to break down your specific train of thought and how you got to this idea of your work-related incident. And in each of these, you see a relevant energy. In each find a keyword, and you always read these keywords tracing back where the very first original negative or heavy feeling came from, and this is an indicator of the internal dialogue of where the energy that is represented in pain begins. It is all a spiraling concept, or for the majority in your energy, this is very prevalent. It can be one small thing that leads to another small that begins to get larger and begins to spiral when you feel negative. So following these specific negative feelings or any feelings less than excitement, you will be able to find these indicator keywords. The very next step that you take is by looking at the negative feeling and express to yourself with these keywords in mind, what is it about my beliefs that makes me believe that this is true? What is it about my beliefs, using this example once again, that makes me believe that I am not good or not able to do my job in a perfect way? And then you express all of your beliefs that are related to this, but trying to express the very first one that comes up instantly will be the most important. I am not able to do this job because I believe that people do not take women seriously in the workplace, and this is very frustrating. Then you take the answer to that specific question and ask yourself the same question. What is it about my own beliefs that makes me feel as if people do not take women seriously? After doing this several times, you will find yourself withering away more answer or more questions and finding more answers. And when you come to the third answer within your question lines, when you begin to question the question and question the answer and question the answer again, by the third time that you have received an answer, you will express to yourself, what is my own heart's truth, what is my own soul's resonance, that allows myself to know that what I have expressed is not true to myself on a soul level. So let us use the example again. Let us say that your answer is the woman in the workplace, and then you ask yourself again, what about my beliefs? Because the world is not equal in the way that they see. What makes me believe this? I see other people having this experience. So then you will ask, what is the ultimate truth in this idea? The ultimate truth is that all of the other people who I see have this go on is only there because of my own initial fear, and it is manifested outwardly. What is it in the other person's experience that is of my own truth? Well, I am going to express a truth that explains that all of these entities are having their own experiences that do not relate to me, that because they are going through something does not mean I must. The truth is that the only reason you are in an environment of men and women that do not see each other equally is because you have agreed to come here in your own existence and continue telling yourself these truths to the answers of these questions, and you will always find the very lowest level of subconscious belief that has brought you there in the first place. Does this make sense to you in any
It
way?
does. Oh, absolutely, it does. I mean, I've struggled with the actual process because I feel like I kind of go around in circles. But that concept of questioning the question and then questioning the answer, and then deciding if it really resonates, that is a process I can follow.
Yes, it's very
Yes.
exciting to follow as well.
It's exciting. Good. I'm glad. It feels like there's so much subconscious that goes on in my day that I want to kind of clear that up and align it because I have more anxiety than I need to have, and I know that to be true. None of this is necessary. I want to clean that up and become more aligned because I think I have more fun I could have without that excitement.
Yes! The fun is a very great thing to have. Let us express as well that in Aridif's interpretation of the very original concept that I have given, he has added many more complex steps. One of the steps that he has added for the entities that he has spoke of and taught this is that when you express your truth, simplify it within 3 to 5 words, and
Okay.
then repeat it 9 times. And once you repeat this 9 times, it sets an energetic tone for that truth to be your truth and override all untruths.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yes, we figured that you would like this idea.
I do like that. I like the idea of affirming it and kind of locking it in. Yes.
Yes!
I have a question about an idea that's been floating around me. It's come and gone, and I'm not fully ready to embrace it, but I'm very curious about writing some kind of a book that would talk about maybe a soul group that went through. In my mind, it's like 3 lifetimes as a soul group, and it's the arc of the story encompasses all 3 lifetimes. It's kind of like tells one story in over a long period of time. Is there any resonance to this book? Is there anything that you could tell me about that idea, if it's something that I've done in the past or that I will do in the future?
Yes! Your excitement in this moment allows the probability for yourself to finish this journey in your existence in this lifetime to be of a very high probability. The only disturbance that we see, the only lack of being able to completely fulfill this, is if there is the secondary guessing energy that comes in, or an expressions of excitement that become higher than this, and your capability to follow those higher excitements. Those two are the only resistances that we see in this moment, and you are greatly excited and greatly open to the possibilities of all things.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel excited about the aspect of under people teaching and showing that our journeys go beyond this lifetime, and that our learnings go and our connections go beyond this lifetime. That feels very exciting to me as a bigger story to tell.
Yes, this excitement and this very large proportion of excitements being expressed is a very great way to place your energy in the now moment. And if this book idea continues to be an excitement, we would always suggest that you follow your excitements as we have expressed previously in this evening. And in this specific manner, this will allow you to share many deep complexities of things that entities are either fairly aware of or subconsciously aware of that will enhance the understanding of how your oversouls work. This is a
Yeah.
very great idea.
That's what it feels like. And I assume the more excitement I get, the more support I can get through my oversoul for channeling the books or channeling exciting stories. And to me, it feels like I would need to do it with my higher self. I don't have that information from this level. I would need more input.
Yes! Your excitement itself is a portion of the higher self. All things that are based in excitements, all things that are based in feelings of bliss and feelings of overexuberance, or not overexuberance, perhaps this is not the correct terminology, but you understand the
I
expressions and
do.
what we
Yes.
mean. So
Yes.
in this expression of complete and utter excitement, you may use that channeling that you are having from the higher self in any format that you fit. And by doing this in each moment, you will always find the amount of work, the quality of work being much higher of a level of what you believed at one point your conscious mind was capable of.
Yes. Okay. I understand that.
Yes!
Trip, I don't know how much time we have left, but I would like to ask a couple of questions about my son, if that is something I can do.
Yes! I believe that we have approximately 15 minutes or more that is available.
Okay. And I know you can't tell me about him without his permission, but most of the time I have his permission. If you could feel the energy that just crosses between the two of us,
Yes!
that would be great. I would just love to know a little bit about our connection. He's really my best friend in my lifetime right now. I think he's really wonderful, but I would love to know a little bit more about our history and our connection, if you can read any of that energy.
Yes! One moment, please, as I look into this concept.
Okay.
Yes! What we find within your own energy as it touches his, as it connects to his, we find that there are many previous incarnations that you have connected to. Again, we are looking only at the outside of the energy as it touches what is open and available for all to look at. And in your interaction of one incarnation that we did not speak of previously, one of the ones that we were able to see a great deal of, but we did not express due to your preference of, ones that were not in resistance, ones that were more resistant free, we
Yes.
do perceive this one incarnation with one of these incarnations that were of a resistant nature. And in this incarnation, both of you were very close, both of you were friends, and both of you in your end of times had felt as if the world around you had betrayed you, but you had always kept your loyalty and love with one another. And this is a very exciting story.
Yeah, it is a beautiful story. I had meant to ask you about betrayal. I've had kind of a theme of betrayal in this lifetime, and I feel like it's a cleaning up from maybe past lifetimes or a clearing. Um, so could you, I have this feeling that there's a group of people I've incarnated with who do acrobatics and stunt work and different jobs that I've done. And I have been isolated and kind of outed with miscommunications. And a lot of it feels like betrayal. Maybe they think I've betrayed them, and maybe I've been betrayed. Um, and I would love to get some clarification if that lifetime is one of them.
Yes! The incarnation that we have spoke of previously is one that does not request when it is attaching to your energy in this moment. It often sends requests for you not to speak or not to put yourself out there for fear of persecution as well. This Do you wish to know the story of this idea, or do you wish?
Yes, I'm curious about the story, actually.
Yes! Let us express that first of all, this is in a time period in which you call 1500 in late periods, so perhaps 15 to 1600. In this time period, you are living in the northern area of Europe, one that is now called North Germany. And in this area of Germany, yourself and the entity that we have described that is very close to you in this incarnation, that is now directly connected to you,
Yes.
both of you are existing as good friends, and both of you are in areas that are very oddly religious. In your own perception, it is very odd, the religion that has been brought about, the belief systems of all around you. So both of you begin to go out and you begin to look for other concepts and what makes sense to you. But because there is a rule that if you guess or second guess this religion in front of the tribe or village, if you begin to express words against this, that you can be killed and murdered, you often must sneak away to do this. In sneaking away, there is always a suspicion of what you two are doing while you are out and about. So one entity that is now a portion of your incarnation, although the energy is not aware of who it is, one day this entity requests to come with you. It expresses the idea that it understands your non-resonance of this religious concept, but wishes to come with you to see what else that you can expand upon and see. And as you both are very reluctant after several weeks of this entity asking, you then place an energy that says, we are able to trust this entity as he has not already told others the suspicion that he has. So you allow this entity to come out with you, and in this woods you are now looking into the trees for consciousness. You are beginning to try to talk to the trees. You are trying to speak to the animals. You are trying to express yourself to a god that seems to be part of all of the nature. And as you begin to exchange yourself with your friend that is with you, that is now a portion of your family, and with this other other friend that you reluctantly let come with you. All of you begin to do the same thing and begin to try to communicate. And this friend that you had brought with you seems very excited, seems very happy, comes with you for several months. And then they ask if they are able to bring one other friend in after several months of all three of you going out. And reluctantly again this builds, but this entity promises you that this entity is safe and that it will share your excitement. And in the third day of bringing this fourth person, there is a reluctancy to connect to the idea of sharing one concept with him about your expression to the greater God. Only you have been talking to trees and animals up to this point, and the moment that your expression was that you wish to connect to this greater God, there was an idea that this entity had spoke up very loudly. It began to be frustrated and angry and expressing that this is how now a modern day entity would perceive as blasphemy, and threatened to go and express this truth to all of your neighbors. And in that moment, without reluctance, the third entity that accompanied you, the one that is no longer connected in your family, the one that come along as a secondary partner, sticks a knife into this fourth person's neck. And as this entity falls to the ground and begins dying, your own consciousness could not take the thought of this friend of yours, although it was threatening you with death. You could not take the fact, so you began to run to grab an adult to come and help you tend to this entity and tend to this person. And as you begin to run, this tertiary entity that had come with you began to chase you. You there ensued in a fight and a struggle in which both of you were stabbed several times, but none of you had died. So when you are going back to the village, you have stab wounds, your friend has stab wounds. Your other friend, which is now your family member, has no stab wounds, and it was expressed that in that specific period that a group of outsiders had come into your area and had found you and killed your one friend. You all had agreed that if you lied about this, that it would be safer for all of you. And in your expression of lying, this gave you great guilt, but because you have stabbed and because you knew that certain death would come, you agreed to lie. In this caused a war with your own neighbors and your counter-lying neighbors, and as they begin to fight, your guilt got the best of you, and then you expressed publicly what had truly happened. In this area, they killed both friends and then imprisoned you so that you may watch the suffering and begin to bring in many of the children of the next neighborhood and kill them as well. They seen how sensitive you were to seeing your friends as children die and begin to torture you by killing prisoners of this war, and this was a very difficult incarnation for you. This is bringing back great amounts of energy, of willingness to speak the truth, as well as feeling betrayed in these moments.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yes, it is very intense as well.
But it's really good to hear, actually, because the intensity kind of justifies some of the intensity in my inability to speak. And I feel like with the information, that even just the story, I can then allow myself to have a different experience this lifetime.
Yes, just by knowing this, you are able to incorporate your understanding of why it hurts so dearly to think of not being able to speak of your voice, and now you are understanding more so why it is very easy for miscommunications to happen with your fellow workers, as well as your fear of being betrayed or betraying others.
Yes, and I have a very hard time with lying. I really don't like to lie. Even if it's to a parking attendant, I really don't like it. It goes against so much of me that it kind of ties me up. So
Yes!
I can see why that would be so. That Thank you, Treb. That's really helpful. That's really it's funny how the hearing about more difficult times can actually be more freeing in a way.
Yes, it gives you a place of reference.
Yes, it kind of gives me some almost like not to justify it, but also to like forgive myself in this lifetime for having such difficulty.
Yes! true.
That's really helpful. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome.
I think we're close to the end of the time, so I don't want to hold you. If I could ask another question, I will, but I don't want to hold you.
Yes! One question is very acceptable.
Okay, good. Is there anything I can do to reach towards my I know I'm part of my oversoul, and I know we now have lifted the veils and there's more opportunity for me to experience it in my physical body. Are there any recommendations for me specifically to be more connected? I want to be as connected as I can to the love of myself.
Yes! Let us express that allowing your throat chakra. Now, with your knowingness, we see a picking up of this energy, and this is very extraordinarily helpful to you. And in this opening up of your throat chakra, through looking at yourself and watching the judgments that you have, and watching your ability to be fearful in the moments of judging information and wisdom, and also speaking your truth, this energy in itself will allow more energy to the third eye and crown chakra. These are the true chakras that you have, crown and third eye, and these are open both very well. It is allowing more energy to go through the throat chakra so that it may activate what is already open in the crown and in the third eye area. And if you are able to incorporate this, this can be very useful. What we also suggest there is an intent-based meditation that is very useful. If you are willing to meditate and sit down and breathe, you may breathe inside of your nose and out of your mouth, breathing in a color that you would perceive as white, and bringing it into each individual chakra and letting it take the color of the chakra that is already there and breathing that out of your mouth. Breathing in white light in the nose, breathing out the color until the white light has replaced all of the color that is in the first chakra, then going to the third chakra, fourth chakra, all the way to your crown chakra. And if you are willing to do this, the intent to clean out your chakras as well as your focus upon the breathing in this can be very useful. Another concept that we wish for you to perceive is the more ingesting of foods that you feel to be healthy to you, foods that tend to be natural in your own mind's perception, even if it is candy and you can perceive candy as useful and healthy, then what we suggest is finding food of the color of the throat chakra. As you are aware, the throat chakra is that of a blue color, so finding blue-colored foods that you deem to be healthy, that you deem to be vibrational fit, will help allow more energy in this way as well. By working upon your third eye, also, this is the third concept that we are sharing with you. By working on third eye opening techniques, such as looking upwards with your eye to the third eye chakra, to place yourself in the meditation with symbolisms that incorporate triangular shapes. Triangle shapes is one that helps you open your bridge from higher self to lower fractalized self via the and third eye chakra. So visualizing these specific ideas in the color of indigo and the color of violet, whether it be the inverted triangles or the triangles that are right-sided up, all of these things can be very useful. The counterclockwise momentum of the third eye area, pushing forward into your own perception of where the third eye is and looking at these triangles and inversions and colors, all of these things placed in any combination that you desire can be very useful.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Treb.
Yes, you are very welcome.
This has been really lovely. Thank you so much for your energy and obviously for Rob and Kalina too, but thank you so much.
Yes, you are very welcome. I wish to express to you also that I am very grateful to have connected to you, and each time we are able to connect to another entity upon your planet, we are able to see portions of our own psyche or our own interpretations of what we perceive as project manifestations of consciousness that are already within us, externalized by our communication. And when we see this, we are very excited, we are very expansive in that moment, and we are very grateful for this expansion.
Good.
Yes, very good as well. We wish to express to you that we will now leave you in love and light, and we will experience each other again very soon.
Good, good, good. Thank you, Treb. Good night to you.
Yes, good night to you as well. Good night.
Good night.